So you like shooters. Maybe you've been cutting your teeth on games like Marathon or Arc Raiders, Tarkov, Left 4 Dead. If so, these are games you absolutely need to check out. We've got a corrupted, evil, single-player extraction shooter with the shooting from Destiny, the most violent 4-player co-op game on the market, and we'll take you to the Old West to kill an evil demon butcher with your friends. I'm Seraph. I don't waste any of your time. Let's get right into it. Witchfire is an incredible game. It is a stunning indie game from just 26 Polish developers. It is a single-player extraction shooter with the shooting inspired by games like Destiny, Marathon, and Halo. So it's in this creepy, corrupted world, kind of like Dark Souls, but it is an intense, brutal shooter with some of the coolest weapons in the whole industry. They're very fun, but some of them are very weird. I actually started doing YouTube as a Witchfire content creator because I loved the game so much and not enough people were talking about it. So forgive me if I'm extra hyped about this one. I need to tell you about Witchfire. So what is this game? How does it work? You work for the church, you're a witch hunter, you're a one-man army. It's a single-player extraction shooter. For all the people who like to play solos, maybe park yourself here. You start in your home base, the Hermitorium. You pick your loadout. It's guns, it's rosary beads that give you little passive bonuses, offensive and defensive trinkets, spells. They're crazy, they're cool, there's a lot of them, and then you go into a raid. So you load into a map. These maps are incredible. They're really intricate, beautiful. The Witchfire devs scan in real assets, so a lot of the stuff is real things they've scanned into the game and then made a little nicer for the game. You won't find art anywhere else like this, but it doesn't just look pretty, it's so much fun to play. The shooting is incredibly tight and clean. For a game that looks like Dark Souls, it plays like a really thoughtful Doom. I don't want to bury the lead here. I think a lot of people do when they talk about Witchfire. The guns and the world are the stars. The guns are incredible. There are so many of them, and each of them has 3 mysteries attached to them, kind of special bonuses. As you use them, you unlock them, and they get these special, really cool abilities. They're not random Borderlands style of guns. Each one is handcrafted. There's a pistol with a roulette wheel on the side. There's a magnetic nail gun that lets you fling nails all over the battlefield. A freezing bolt action rifle that lets you create a prison of freezing shots everywhere. A shotgun that reloads when you stab someone and readies your stab whenever you kill someone. It is a crazy number of options, and that's just the guns. There's spells, there's trinkets, there's a million things, and they all feel incredibly OP when you've mastered them. So there's a few different maps, but they're pretty dynamic. Random stuff spawns, random stuff happens on them. So you go into the raid, you fight the witch's minions, and then you try to get as much as you can out of the map before you extract, level up all your stuff, and do it all over again. This game is in early access, but it gets massive updates, and the devs are really communicative. This one is crossing the finish line. Let's talk about Darktide. Have you ever wondered what happened to Left 4 Dead? Why weren't there a million games that copied it? Well, there were, and this is the best one. Do you crave fun and casual play, but with deep build crafting? A game where the level of violence you inflict is ludicrous. In my opinion, this is the best 4-player co-op game on the market, and it just got a massive update. Here's how it works. It's a lot like Left 4 Dead. You pick a mission, and you need to get from the beginning of the mission to the end of the mission. That's it. Along the way, there will be objectives like you restart a generator, you storm the trenches, or you interrupt a ritual, but really you just have to get from the beginning of it to the end of it. There are 6 different classes you can play. A hardened veteran, which is the shootiest, biggest guns, a psychotic zealot who's fueled by insanity and piety, a space wizard psyker with magical fire, lightning, and swords, just a huge ogre who smashes everything, a Star Wars FBI agent with a robot dog, and a mean addict wielding 2 machine guns. Each of them can kill hordes of enemies with swords that slash through hundreds at a time, a chainsaw, or just a really sharp latrine shovel. This game is relentlessly fun. It's great just if you want to turn your brain off and kill things, or if you want to challenge yourself. There's some really hard content available. It's gorgeous. There's a lot to do. Every second of gameplay is fun. If you like to kill a lot of enemies with your friends, this is the game you need to be playing. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please consider dropping a like. I've got a lot of really cool stuff planned for this channel, so subscribe so you don't miss a thing. That's all. Let's keep going. Let's talk about Hunt Showdown. Okay, so this is one of the only live service games that continually gains new players, and you're about to understand why. Do you like solo Marathon or Tarkov, or just that slower, sneakier, more careful style? Are you a little more folksy? You're looking for that weird, corrupted Wild West. Does the idea of resurrecting a teammate, slashing a zombie with a saber, and then shooting someone with a musket across the map appeal to you? Welcome to Hunt. Hunt is an extraction shooter similar to Marathon, Tarkov, Arc, that kind of thing, but it actually actually has more in common with a battle royale. It's kind of a mix of both of those. There's more PvP than games like Marathon, Tarkov, or Ark, but it's much slower and more thoughtful PvP. The engagements are tense and brutal. They can be really quick. It's a really good solo experience. Even solo versus squads is really well thought out and really well made. And the world is really immersive. You can play the piano, you can loot cash registers. The world feels incredibly reactive and interactive and very dangerous. So how does the game work? You and a bunch of other squads load into a raid. Sound familiar? There's a boss on that map. The map is quite large. What you do to start with is you run around and you try to find these things. They're called clues. They basically just cut chunks out of the map where it says the boss isn't. If you get 3 clues, it will tell you exactly where the boss is on the map. Or you can just get lucky and stumble into him in his location where he spawned. The difference between this and a lot of other extraction shooters is that everybody is doing the same thing. That's why it's kind of more similar to a battle royale. Everyone is looking for this boss. You wouldn't ever really load into a hunt game and go loot and leave. So you go in, you find the clues, you find the boss, you kill the boss, and then you have to banish it. It takes a while, it's very loud, everyone knows where it's happening. Then you loot an item off the boss called a bounty, which lets everyone know where you are, but you also get mini wall hacks, and then you try to extract. So everybody is looking to kill you, get the bounty for themselves, and extract. This is why it feels a little more like a battle royale. Everyone really fights at this stage, but it's incredible, it's tense. If you're the first people to the boss, you need to be sneaky and careful because everyone's coming to kill you. If you're looking to kill people who killed the boss and steal their bounty, you can do that too. You have to be very, very sneaky. It's so easy to hear. And that brings me to the last really excellent point about Hunt. The sound in Hunt is so good. Every sound means something in Hunt. Walking on broken glass, walking on dirt, barking of dogs, mooing of cows, horses, birds. There's so many ways you can give yourself away. Even switching weapons makes a tiny little noise. Listen, 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 listen. Now I'm going to show you some footage of each of these games in action. First Witchfire, Darktide, then Hunt. These are incredible games and I want you to see what it actually looks like when someone's playing them. So welcome to the Witchfire raid. So I chose a machine pistol here that has like a little roulette wheel on the side. And I got a nail gun that allows me to shoot small nails and then magnetize them with a bigger nail. I'm gonna go over to this portal and I'm going to choose the place I want to go, which is the Scarlet Coast. It's a little bit of an easier map, a little more open and wide. So I start out here on the high ground. Your starting location is randomized, as are all the enemy sort of events on the map. This is like an easy area of enemies. So I can kill these enemies with kind of no problem. You can see me rolling the dice basically every time I reload this gun. I have a chance to get multiple of the same element. If I get 2 in a row, I get that element on my weapon. In this case, it's fire. If I get 3 in a row, I get the element on my weapon, and I get some kind of insane bonus, like infinite stamina, infinite ammo. And so this is the in-raid progression here. It's where you choose Arcana. So whenever you wipe out a group of enemies, you get to kind of level up, almost like Slay the Spire. You get to pick an upgrade that will last for the entire rest of the run. This is really important because it means you start a little bit weak, but if you approach the map doing like the easiest stuff first and then the hardest stuff later, you'll end up being strong enough to take it on. So map routing can be really important in this game. Lots of different enemy types, and many of the enemy types are kind of map specific. So on this map, you can see we've got musketeers. They like to line up in rows and shoot you. And that was another easy group of enemies. So we get to choose another Arcana here. So I choose one that every time I hit enemies in the head, it shoots extra lightning bolts out. So you can see the map here. I'm heading towards the strongest node of enemies on the map. It's pretty dangerous because I can also see that there's like traps all around it. So I'm going to be fighting into traps and a bunch of enemy spawns, including much stronger enemies. Whip out the nail gun. So the benefit of the nail gun is I'm shooting all of these nails out, right? And they're kind of okay. You can see they do okay damage, but they're landing on enemies and they land on the ground. And then I do a big shot, which magnetizes all the shots towards that one big shot, and you can see all the nails fly off the ground and hit the enemy I aimed at. So every gun in the game has these sort of almost like a mini game to it if you want to use it optimally. You can just shoot things, but if you want to use the weapon to its full potential, you'll use that ability. And boom, you see a million nails come and fly and hit that thing in the head. You'll see me dashing around a lot. kind of like Dark Souls, stamina is really important in this game, both for doing damage and for dodging and for using abilities and stuff. So I cleared the hard node and I get to pick another Arcana. I pick Critical Chain, which means when I hit enemies in the head, I actually refill bullets in my gun. So I'm dashing a lot with this weapon. I use my melee attack. There are melee weapons in the game, but I actually really like the fist. It's very stun heavy. There's like a whole stun mechanic in the game as well. So you can weave in and out of combat. You can get your melee back. It's almost like a spell all on its own. But this game is so stunning. Look at this rock quarry. And like right now, there isn't really anything here, but there could be enemies here. There could be puzzles. Right now, there's like a treasure chest. There's so many secrets in this game. It's actually insane. There's a cursed chest here, which are chests that give you a guaranteed health potion, but you have to do their special thing. So in this one, I have to kill all these enemies without taking any damage. That guy almost hits me, almost ruins it. But I've got all these nails down to the ground and I'm one-shotting all these guys because all the nails that drop to the ground are getting magnetized and killing whoever I shoot. It's a very cool weapon if you're fighting in one place for a while. So I move to the north side of the map and I start taking out these swordsmen. I stun this guy and I see all those nails that dropped on the ground. There's some traps that I'm shooting right there. And see all the nails fly towards that swordsman and instantly kill him in one shot. Pretty cool. I switch back to my machine pistol, the Fatum. It has a freeze effect on it now. And I also put on a trinket that whenever I dash, it actually lights my gun on fire. So I'm freezing and I'm burning enemies, which makes them pop in a fiery, icy explosion. And I take out the last one in that node, and that means more Arcana for me. You can kind of pick which Arcana will show up by using something called prophecies in this game. It's basically you get to choose which pool of Arcana show up in your run. So it's a way of taking away that RNG element if you're further along in the game. There's a bunch of shield guys here, and I use Storm Ball, which is a ball of lightning that gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it moves, and it zaps all these guys so they share a little bit of damage. I freeze this guy with my cool gun that has freeze on it right now, and I kill him. This map basically has like a cool little pagan village. I love all the statues on this map. They're so weird and creepy and ancient. Again, a lot of assets in this game are real items, so the designers actually went to really cool locations and scan these assets in, and then they sort of fix them up a little bit. It's an incredibly cool way to get micro details that are like you wouldn't get otherwise, or artists wouldn't even think of. So we're heading to the last node here, and one of the special things about this map is that when you wipe all the nodes and collect all the Arcana, it spawns a boss. So I could just extract if I didn't want to risk fighting the boss. But this is going pretty well here. My character is a very high level. I've played a lot of Witchfire. And you can see that I'm building up so many of those nails. Like, look at all the nails out of this guy. And then I launch them all at the same target. It's an incredibly good way to kind of lock down an area, is to build up all these nails with this nail gun. And that's it. I go and I collect the last Arcana, the last upgrade for the map. And here's the boss spawning, the Galley Slave. Really creepy bosses in this game. This guy is kind of the first challenge you really meet in the game. Overcoming him is really tricky, but I've fought him about 1,000,000 times now, and so I know all his tricks. I use these little soul sigils to stun him, so he takes double damage when he's stunned, and I absolutely obliterate him. This is the power you can get in this game when you understand it and when you make a build that's synergistic. It's a really cool game. It's dark fantasy, but the shooting is so tight. It's so good. I really recommend you try it. So this is Darktide. This is one of the newer missions. I'm playing as the Psyker, which is like a space wizard. And my build in this game is pretty goofy. So I brought a two-handed sword that's like magical. I brought these little shards that are little like seeker arrows, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy arrow that seeks around and blows the heads off enemies. And then I have a staff that shoots lightning. So I'm very in and out of combat. I'm very melee, but also I can take out large hordes. So I throw out my little head-seeking missiles here, and they just eat all the enemies there. I have a limited amount, but they recharge slowly over time. You'll see that percentage gauge in the middle there. That's kind of like my heat. If I overheat, I explode. I kill all the enemies around me, but I die. But the higher it is with this build, the more damage I do. So I'm actually getting in there with my two-handed sword. I'm sliding, I'm cutting around. You'll see these enemies that kind of light up blue. That's part of my build as well. So the more of these blue enemies, these highlighted enemies I killed, the more damage I do. And I do a big slash there as my sword charges all the way up. It's sort of a complicated build, and Psyker is a complicated class. But there's always something happening in Darktide. You very rarely have downtime. I see all these guys, so I whip out my little headshot beam arrow things. You can see that they seek out, they're fire and forget, and I wade into the horde. My sword is charged up, so I'm going to go for the full charge, and I wipe the entire horde with one full charge. It's not a thing you can do very often. You usually get a lot of kills with the sword before you can do it, but when it happens, it's so glorious. You can see my other squad mates are a little bit behind me. One of them went down to that horde. The reason I'm running on ahead a little bit is because that sword charge decays over time. I don't want to stop killing, or else I'll have to charge it all the way up again. But I know my big Ogren guy, my big ogre, will pick him up. That's like one of the things that class is really good at. But I'm charging in. I've got a full charge again. The charge is much better against unarmored enemies, which these are all kind of like armored guys. There's so many enemy types in this game, and they're all really well designed. So I do the big slash there, but it doesn't really do anything. I kind of miss. I kind of go over their heads. And I whip out the lightning again, and the lightning staff is kind of this thing that has amazing stun on it. It really stops enemies from doing stuff. But it also is really good single target and great against armor, right? It's lightninging their metal armor. This is kind of a dangerous area, you can see, because the enemies have a high ground. They're really shooting you. You have to use cover in this game. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like, oh, you can just run and gun, but I'm actually weaving in and out of cover as my like over shield wears off and on. So you can see I'm riding the edge of overloading a lot. It's because the closer I get to overloading, the more damage I do. I see all these guys over here, perfect fodder for my little arrows, but I almost blow myself up. I'm at 100% overcharge there. But I'm also at maximum damage, and that affects everything, even my sword. And I whip out my lightning again because I need to get these single target kills. I'm trying to charge up my sword, and now it's fully charged, so I'm looking for an opportunity where there's a lot of enemies in a row, and I can do that line attack. This is looking pretty tasty, so I take it, and I wipe out a lot of those shotgunners that just spawned. I hear something behind me, which is a really special type of enemy called a trapper. Really dangerous. If that guy with the red gun hits me, my team has to save me or I die. There's nothing I can do to get out of it by myself. There's a lot of enemies like that, so you have to play as a team in this game. You can totally clutch if you play your brains out, but you do need to rely on your team. This is a very team-focused game. Now we're heading into the most dangerous area of the map. You can see these are some big guys. These are called crushers. They're armored, corrupted ogrens, and they are very scary. That one probably would have hit me, but my teammate threw an armor-piercing grenade. Takes a second to charge up, but then it one hits those guys. It's a great thing the veteran can do. And I find this area really dangerous because it's incredibly open. There's very little area to hide, and there's so many gunners. The enemies are kind of random in this game. It's not like there will always be exactly these enemies here if you run it again, but in this case, it's terrifying. Look at all those guys. So I send out my little arrows, my little shards, and they take the heads off most of them. But I'm out of my little shards now, so I have to wade back in with my lightning staff and my sword. And a boss spawns. Pretty unlucky. So Psyker, one of the things they're worst at is killing bosses. I kind of leave it to my teammates. My teammates are very good. You see them beating the crap out of this boss. Giant Plague Ogren. I do a little bit of zappy zap, but mostly that was my Ogren there with his grenade launcher. He had some kind of grenade launcher sticky mod that made his grenades stick to the head of that Ogren and kill it so fast. Look at the landscapes in Darktide. They're absolutely insane. A horde comes out and I charge up my sword for another awesome blast. And we're heading towards the final event on the map. So this event, we basically just need to hold out. We just need to survive against waves of enemies. There are a couple little objectives we need to do at the same time, but mostly we're just living here. But it's not that easy. The spawns here are scary. They can come from every direction. It's kind of the way this map was designed, is that you're in the trenches and you're getting slammed from everywhere. You can see I'm doing my best, but I'm not really in cover right now, and it's painful. I'm going back and forth between my lightning staff and my little shards, but it's not that easy, and I almost overload a couple of times. So I need to go into the basement, and I see a giant horde down here. Might as well charge up that sword, and they're already dead by the time I do the big sword attack this time, but my teammates are really on it right now. Now for the final part of the map. This is where you see how important your different roles are. Look at what just spawned. 2 bosses, a bunch of shotgunners. I know my role. I just used all my shards to kill all these little guys. The shards are flying around, hitting everyone in the head. I know I'm not going to do a lot of damage to these bosses. It's not what my build is about. I went more for a horde clear and controlling like long range enemies. So I wipe out pretty much all of the ads with my little shards, and my Ogryn is destroying the bosses. One is dead already. The second one is about to die. And just like that, all of the bosses are dead. I think that our Ogryn just blew them up. He seems to have a really strong boss killing build. Making synergistic builds with your team is something that's really important at higher levels of play. At lower levels of play, you can just relax and just enjoy the game, kill stuff. But we leave in the Valkyrie, we're done. An incredible team-based game that's fun casually and really hardcore. Those games are rare and I love it. So now for Hunt Showdown. This is the game I would say is most similar to other extraction shooters like Tarkov and Marathon, Arc Raiders. My teammate is playing some kind of country boy, but he brought a katana. I'd played a few games before this and I was sick of sniping and getting sniped, so I went for a double barrel shotgun, sawed off, and a revolver just in case. So I'm using something called dark vision here. You can see these like glowing blue areas. That's where those hidden clues are that I talk about. The clue is basically just a thing on the map you interact with, and it cuts a third of the map away, so you know where the boss is. Bunch of enemies here. I need to punch them because all I brought was these little knuckle dusters. So you might be seeing this and saying like, wow, these enemies compared to a game like Marathon or Tarkov, they're kind of annoying, but I'm getting owned here, but they're not that bad. And that's actually kind of a feature of Hunt. The enemies themselves, like the AI, they're really easy, but they're so loud. You can hear them from so far away, and they're really distinctive too. They're more to alert enemies of where you are than to present really a challenge. My dark vision reveals that there was actually another clue behind me, so I back up and go for that. And there it is right next to me. I'm gonna grab it. My map has been updated again. This horse is incredibly loud. I punch it so it goes good night. So you can see on the map, another third of the map has been cut away. The boss is in that last third, but if we find another clue, we'll know exactly where it is. There are other teams out here hunting though. They may have already found the boss. They could be camping it, waiting for us. So we decided to split up a little bit as my friend Jason goes to scout out where he thinks the boss might be. And I go to check out the mine because my friend says it looks really cool. And you know what? It does look really cool. Thank you. So we get a notification that the boss has begun to be banished. And banished means that someone has killed it and they're about to collect the reward from it. So you can see on the map exactly where the boss was. We know another squad just killed the boss, but so does everyone else on the map. Everyone is about to converge on where that boss is being finished and being collected, and everyone is going to fight for it. We're not too far away either, so this is a great opportunity for us. The maps in this game are so gorgeous. You can see how broken down everything is, and that's actually a really cool gameplay feature. It's not just something that looks pretty. The broken down nature of all these buildings means you can almost always catch a flash of enemies as they run inside, and then you can actually shoot through walls in this game pretty easily. There's a lot of bullet penetration, so being inside a building is a lot less safe than you think because there's a million little gaps in there that people will see the movement and they'll just shoot you through the wall. So it's another way you have to be stealthy in this game. So we heard a little bit of fighting over this way, so we're getting ready to engage. We think other people are ahead of us and they're fighting the people that killed the boss. So we think we're pincering a team right now. I'm really close range, right? Because I have a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun. So I don't want to go in the forest over there. I want to run through the corn. So behind me, my teammate actually gets downed. Somebody shot him right in the head. So these are these really tense moments in Hunt. Headshots are really strong in Hunt. Like one shot headshot from most weapons will down you. So even though I have this little pistol here, if I aim right, if I get the headshot, I surprise somebody, I'll win the fight no matter what. So I have to find a way to get back there. But what I really want to do is engage at close range. Like the pistol is cool. Someone else might have like a silenced scoped sniper rifle, and then I'm at a big disadvantage if they're far away and could just shoot me in the head. So I'm scoping it out. I don't really see anything. I decided to go for like a wide flank back through the corn. Unfortunately, this dying cow is so loud and it definitely alerts enemies where I am. There's a million noise traps like that on the map. So you're about to see a couple of enemies, but I only see one. So I'm crouching, I'm being really careful here. I see an enemy right here. I shoot him right in the head. He was probably more geared than me. I think they had silenced weapons, but it doesn't matter. The one headshot does it. And that's the power of repositioning in this game and being really quiet. So I'd really like to res my teammate, but I know they're camping his body. So I go up, I kind of throw caution to the wind, and I push up with my shotgun. This is something that you can potentially do. Most guns in this game are like lever action, bolt action. They're very old-timey. If you just run at people and you're kind of evasive, you can totally win with even a melee weapon. But I do some crazy runarounds as body, and nobody shoots me, nobody sees me, so I actually don't know where they are. I was kind of expecting to die or win right there. My other teammate, unfortunately, also goes down, kind of from the direction I came from, like on the other side of the corn, and they start throwing grenades at me. I think I hear one on the other side here, like really close to me, and I keep switching weapons, shotgun, pistol, and then I remember, oh right, that is actually making a little bit of noise. If someone is right on the other side of this hill, they're hearing me just swap between my weapons. So I'm on a couple timers right now. I know that there's another team who has already picked up the boss bounty, which is the only reason I'm here, right? I need that boss bounty. But I'm also on a timer because they've thrown a Molotov cocktail at my friends' bodies, and if they burn them all away, then I will not be able to resurrect them. It'll just be me for the rest of the run. So I pull out a stick of dynamite. I'm pretty sure I hear them pushing me right now, and I throw it out. I blow up nothing, but it was a pretty fun distraction. I push up with my shotgun. I'm so certain I hear them here. I decide I just want to push through the corn towards where I think these guys are. I want a close range fight in the corn, but one of them sees me. I don't really see him. He's crouching in the grass there, and he shoots me in the head. One shot. That's it, with his little weird braced pistol thing. And that's Hunt Showdown. It's really tense. It can be really fast or really slow. It's an incredible game. So there you have it, 3 games you really need to check out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. Join the Discord if you want to group up with people who play these types of games. It's a really fun time in there. It's a really good community. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.